This program is brought to you by Monty and Ramirez Law Firm.
This is Tony Diaz with The Other Side, and this is Mano a Mano. We are following the fiery debates between outgoing, soon-to-be ex-Senator Lion Ted Cruz and his opponent, Beto O'Rourke, who will soon be elected to the Senate based on how I'm seeing the debates going so far. And, of course, Mano a Mano, you get to see a left progressive Chicano. I'm Tony Diaz, Libre Traficante, joined by a conservative Mexican-American, Jacob Monty. How are you, Jacob?
Good to see you, Tony.
I'm going to be really nice to you in person because Ted is sinking quick, okay? So
wait a minute. He agreed to these debates to give Beto a chance and to give Texans a chance to see who the two candidates are. I mean, that's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of courage. Senator Cruz is going to be fine. Well, I wish he had a better position on immigration. I wish he would adopt a fix for DACA. His position on immigration needs to be improved, but he's still going to win, Tony. Democrats don't have enough registered voters. There's enthusiasm, but a lot of this money for Beto's coming from California, from Seattle. Those guys can't vote. Ted Cruz is going to win convincingly in November.
And that's pretty much, I'm sure, what Republicans are saying to themselves throughout Texas. I'm going to give you that because it's about to get ugly. Because Ted Cruz himself, he came up with this list. And this is the second debate. It's scheduled for September 14th in McAllen, and it's on immigration. I have to look closely at this to make sure this is correct. But obviously, since Ted Cruz was born in Canada, and he's not Hispanic.
He is Hispanic, Tony.
He didn't know that September 14th is the night before Hispanic Heritage Month. And he's walking into the Valley, and Rio Grande Valley, which votes Democrat all the time. And he's having a discussion on immigration. First of all, let's start with this. He's benefited from a broken immigration system. So here's a Canadian guy who basically bent immigration laws to qualify for asylum because his parents were Cuban Americans. And I'll bet you, too, if we look deep into this, Jacob, he probably benefited from affirmative action, too. So here's what really bugs me. Before we even get to immigration, because it's all tied in, he benefited from claiming Hispanic way back when, and then now he's turning his back on Hispanics. I think he needs to tell us if he's proud to be Hispanic or not. I think he's not. And I hear people like you. You just said that he's Hispanic. I've never heard Ted Cruz say, I'm proud to be Hispanic.
I've heard him say that repeatedly, and I've known Ted for almost 20 years.
Show me the news clip, but go on. I haven't seen the news clip.
No, he is Hispanic. His dad's Hispanic. Yes, he was born in Canada, but he was born to U.S. citizen parents. Come on. By the way, this is coming from Beto, who wanted these debates to be in Spanish. I mean, come on.
Well, one of them does speak Spanish, Beto. The other one does not. And now, of course,
if anything, that proves that Ted Cruz is really almost Chicano, because Chicanos, we don't speak Spanish perfectly. In my book, that makes Ted Cruz Chicano.
Yo hablo español muy bien. No, Ted Cruz is not Chicano. And by the way, for people who are watching at home and you're getting confused, it's pretty simple. A Chicano knows a history and would never vote for Ted Cruz, okay? And a Hispanic might, because they're confused. But even before we settle that, because only one person can settle that, is Ted Cruz. So we've already taken his Latino card away. So he's got to come back to reclaim it, okay? We got to see if that'll happen. But on top of it, he's benefited from a broken immigration system. And I really resent, this is a little personal for me, because I resent that he's turned his back on the Dreamers. And when Congress could have sat down to talk about this, he was the only senator to vote against just talking about it. That's pretty bad in my book.
On immigration, the senator's position needs to come around to that of most Americans. We need a DACA fix. His policies need to change. I can't really defend where he's at now on immigration, but let's look beyond immigration, because that's not the only thing Latinos care about, Tony. I mean, me, for example, I agree with a lot of what Ted Cruz says, maybe 80, 75%. On immigration, we differ, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to support him. He's still my candidate. He's still
What-
very qualified. He's done a great job, and he is Latino. He may not be your idea of what a Latino is, but you are the libero traficante, but you don't get to decide who's Latino and who's not.
No, not at all. Of course, I want Ted Cruz to tell us if he's proud to be Hispanic or not. Because I've heard
That's
other
easy.
people. I've heard other people defend him and say, "Oh, he is Hispanic." Again, I've never heard him say that. I'll bet you he claimed it for affirmative action when he was younger. And on top of it, he's asking for it. He asked for this debate in the Rio Grande Valle, El RGV, the day before Hispanic Heritage Month. This is probably the last Hispanic Heritage Month. If you vote for Ted Cruz, he will end Hispanic Heritage Month.
No,
I'm
he
pretty
won't
sure
do
of that. On top of it too, it is about immigration because that's the topic. So I'm not saying that's the only issue for our communities at all. But Teddy Cruz lying, unless he lied, because he is lying. The president called him lying Ted Cruz, so he could be a liar. I know Ted Cruz. He is known as a liar. If you support Donald Trump, you probably still think he's a liar because that's the name your president gave him. But lying Ted Cruz picked this topic on immigration, and I haven't heard lying Ted Cruz defend separating families. I haven't heard him say that he wants to get the families together. And here's my thing. I want Ted Cruz to hear this loud. I hope Beto goes for the jugular. And I'm going to throw it to you after this to give you time to respond. But I want you to know that our first world problems are such that anybody watching right now, if you went on an airplane trip and the airplane misplaced your luggage, you'd flip. You'd go nuts. You'd demand the luggage. These families lost their kids. It's disgusting that Ted Cruz doesn't do anything about it. What's he going to say about that? That's disgusting.
Well, look, on the separation of kids, Ted Cruz did speak out. It was one of the early Republicans to speak out and tell the president that the policy was wrong. So I think he deserves credit for that. His policy on DACA needs to change. He needs to support a DACA fix. He also needs to support legalization of the non-criminal aliens that are in the U.S. And most of the people here in the U.S., they crossed the border. That's the only crime they committed. Ted Cruz needs to understand that. But again, Latinos care about other issues besides immigration. I think it shows courage that he is agreeing to this debate and this topic. Let's see how they perform. But this is the only area where I think there's a little bit of vulnerability for Ted Cruz. This is the only area where I don't agree with him on. But let's see what happens. Again, we got to give the points to the guapo Beto, very good looking. But let's see how he can hold his own with Ted Cruz, who is a very good advocate.
Okay, if Beto Camp is watching, and I'll give you a call too, don't let him off the hook. See how kind of things ebbed and flowed? We kind of took it to a common ground. Don't let him off the hook, okay? Because the only thing I've heard Ted Cruz say is that families shouldn't break the law. Before you let him get away with that myth, I want you to go there, Beto. I need you to tell him that these families are escaping from situations that we had a hand in. I want you to remind Ted Cruz that we funded the School of the Americas that destabilized Central American countries. When I first came to Texas, when I first came to Houston, I was translating into English the political asylum pleas by Guatemalans and El Salvadorans whose plight could not be recognized because the U.S. had funded secret wars. That was Ronald Reagan's legacy, and he pretended to forget about it. Don't forget about it. So don't let him off the hook. On top of it, too, don't let lying Ted Cruz get away with saying that it is policy, they shouldn't have broken law. We should not destabilize those governments. And on top of it, too, those people are running because they're in danger, because we have drug addicts in this country who will buy illicit drugs and send money into the hands of cartels across the country to keep their addiction going, and they're complicating place across the border.
Tony, 2 quick points. 2 of the big countries that are sending refugees to America right now are Venezuela, which thousands of people are here leaving that leftist regime. I mean, come on, it's not just right-wing governments that are causing oppression. It's also the left-wing governments of Venezuela and Nicaragua. So things aren't great in Venezuela. Communism doesn't work. Socialism it doesn't work tampoco. It's not as simple as left or right, because certainly the left hasn't given any good answers for Venezuela. People are eating out of the garbage cans. Come on.
Beto, I got a quick answer for you. Beto, bring this up at the debate. Simple. September 11th. First September 11th was in Chile, when the left-leaning elected president of Chile was overthrown in a coup by the terrible dictator Pinochet, who was fueled by American dollars and might. And don't forget this too. Remember this, Beto, go for the jugular. You remind Ted Cruz that we trained Osama bin Laden because we wanted him to destabilize and he got out of hand. We did the same thing in Central South America. I think, you know what? Hey, in the Valley, gente, show up, protest, be loud, make sure that Ted Cruz knows that he's unloved, register voters. Ted Cruz's time is over. I'm going to give you the last word. You know why? Because your boy's going to lose bad, especially talk about immigration. I don't know what he was thinking. Está loco. Ted Cruz, lying Ted Cruz, está loco también.
Ted Cruz is going to obviously win the election. He needs to come around and come up with a more sensible, compassionate immigration plan. I have faith that he will. He is proud to be Hispanic. He always has been. Again, this is not a newfound identity for him. He is Hispanic, and he's going to do well with Hispanics as well. That's my prediction. He's going to at least get 35, 40% of the vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've crossed over to the other side. ¿Quién quiere naranjas? Beautiful metaphors de la tierra madre. I take square, checks, Bitcoin. Best oranges and metaphors ever. Unplagiarized oranges de la comunidad. This is how they treat us. They treat us like we're selling oranges, not bringing high art. They treat us like we're selling oranges, not poet laureates. They treat us like we're selling oranges, not Pulitzer Prize winners. They treat us like we are selling oranges, not cultural accelerators. They treat us like we're selling oranges, not libro traficantes. That's over. We don't really need them. We don't need their money, because we can do it on our own. If we gotta sell oranges, we will. But that's over. Now it's time to franchise. City of Houston, Texas State, they owe us money for our community. I'm Tony Diaz. Welcome to The Other Side. This is the cultural side. I want to talk a little bit about why Mexican-American studies matters so much to me. This really is about the power of books. I know you hear that phrase a lot, and it's kind of lost its meaning, but literature is a big deal to me. And we've got to celebrate two big victories. So proud that our community members in Tucson helped liberate this book. This was part of the prohibited Mexican-American Studies program in Tucson, and we heard about the ban through the students. And here in Houston, we said, you know what, if they're going to ban Mexican-American Studies in Arizona, we're going to smuggle it back. So we united, and members of Nuestra Palabra, Latino Writers Having Their Say, we invested our time, energy, and cultural capital into becoming book smugglers. That's right. We became Libro Traficantes, and in 2012, we organized a 6-city caravan smuggling $20,000 worth of these prohibited texts of our history and culture back into Arizona. We went in a bus, the 1,100 miles from Houston, Texas to Tucson, and we opened 4 underground libraries. Last year, in August, that racist, un-American law banning Mexican-American Studies was overturned. And I want to make something clear. It's the people of Tucson, Arizona, who suffered the brunt of it. They get all the glory. Gente from Texas and the Libro Traficantes were happy to lend a granito de arena, to lend a hand, and to make sure that un-American law didn't spread. And in fact, we came back to Texas to make sure that Mexican-American studies was in our classrooms. I mean, we used to say, we're so proud that Texas will not ban Mexican-American studies. Well, you can't ban what you don't have. We realized that we didn't have Mexican-American studies in our schools, and we started to push for it. So in 2013, we went to Austin and we demanded Mexican-American studies, and people thought that was the most outlandish thing possible. I'm proud to say that this last June, Texas State Board of Education members across party lines, both Republicans and Democrats, voted to endorse Mexican-American studies throughout the state, which is huge. And I really believe that no individual party should be thought of as against our culture or the only one in favor of our culture. This is great. This is the Texas I'm proud of because we united to make sure that our students have the best education possible. If you go to the website, librotraficante.com, or also at theothersidetv.com, we're going to put some of the surveys that prove that these culturally relevant courses help our youth progress. You knew that. I knew that. But I want to tell you personally why this is so important to me and why I'm really pushing hard to make sure that teachers have all the tools they can use to get this in the classrooms, and so parents know that this is available, and so students can hear their stories and histories. Because my folks were migrant workers. I'm the last of 9 children. I'm the only male to have finished high school, and I'm the first in my family to go to college. But I was also the first one that my folks said, one of our children has to study. My brothers and sisters were migrant workers at an early age. So when they were in 3rd grade, they'd have to wake up at 5 a.m. They'd have breakfast, su cafecito, un taquito, and with the morning dew, they would get in the truck, drive to someone else's farm, and pick crops. One of my sisters used to tell me how she used to see the morning dew on the crops they were about to pick. Now, I didn't have to pick because by the time I came along, my folks had moved to Chicago, and my father had a job at the railroad, which meant that we no longer had to move around to find work. I remember when I was in high school, I had a textbook, and I was reading about social problems. And I remember flipping to child labor laws, and I read that it's illegal for kids to work. And I remember thinking, my brothers and sisters were working in farm fields when they were little kids. I remember reading about people being homeless. I remember thinking, my parents moved from farm to farm following crops. And it dawned on me that my folks really had to sacrifice a lot for me to be in that room reading and writing. I also had a gift for it. I think I got it from my mom. My mom never went to school. She taught herself how to read, but she was a wonderful storyteller. She claimed she never spoke English. I think she learned English, secretly spoke it, because now and then she'd tell a joke in English, make us laugh, but she was really brilliant. And I always wonder what it would have been like had she been able to go to college or study or get a PhD, which she would have been totally capable of if it was just about her intelligence alone. There were a lot of things blocking her, and I'm proud of my mother and his father for getting those things out of the way for me. So when I got to school, I devoured every book, I devoured every assignment, because my parents had infused in me how important it was. I knew that this was a key to my future and my family's future, and I happened to be good at it because my gente had reading, writing, history, and cultura in their veins and their blood, like our community does as well. So I'm happy to join you to tap into that. Stories del corazón, stories about your family, stories that make you proud. I want students to open these books and see their history and culture, their families reflected in this. I want them to understand that heroes look like us too. That's what this is about. That's why I am so passionate about reading and writing, and I am so proud of all the writers and activists that have made it possible for these books to get into your classrooms, into your hearts, into your imaginations, and right now, through the magic of television, it's getting into your minds as well. Let's keep it going. Welcome to the Chicano Renaissance. I'm Tony, and you've crossed over to the other side. Bust you in the mouth, drag you out of here on a stretcher. Welcome, students. Congratulations for graduating from Trump University. Or as Judge Curiel requires me to say, congratulations for graduating from Trump University. We've given you good words. Really, we've given you the best words. And today we're going to celebrate by closing down the school. Now, as you can tell, I'm not our owner, Donald Trump, but as the fine print in your contracts that you signed indicated, he might not make it today. Well, you should have read it, because that's on you. Really, this is important because now our founder is president. Don't act surprised. So the closing of the university comes at a perfect time so that he can focus more on important issues such as golfing, tweeting, and nightly phone conferences with our Einstein, Sean Hannity. Now, the fake news is going to tell you that we were forced to close down due to lawsuits from unsatisfied students who can't get jobs. That's just not true. You know that everybody in this room is eligible for a job as a caddy at the Mar-a-Lago of their choice. You also get a 10% discount. Blackout dates may apply. And you can work at the coal mine of your choice if you choose. That's a 100% employment rate. We're proud of our 100% employment rate. And in fact, as your Math Day seminar indicated, you can't do better than 100% unless you do 110% donation to the Trump campaign. We're proud of what we've done, and there's still more to come. Are you tired of winning yet? I want all the haters, because there's a few, to know that President Trump has begun a $25 million scholarship fund just for you. Don't let the fake media call it a settlement, because we've taught you never to settle. And there's more. One of President Trump's special students got a $130,000 scholarship. I want to thank you, Mr. Michael Cohen, for donating that. I want everyone to know, he is so committed, he refinanced his own house to pay for that. And he did it all without telling the president about it. You are a tried and true defender of Trump U. On top of it, I'm really excited too because I think we'll be hearing more about that special student. I understand she's making some films. But of course, everybody got in on the fun. I think you enjoyed the Trump University prom. The Gropers are a great band. Let's give them a hand. And I want you to know that these remarks or possible cheering do not violate the non-disclosure agreements you signed before the dance, so it's okay. So as you tweet your final exams and footnote your alternate facts, just like we taught you, be inspired because we're closing down while we're ahead and possibly the greatest university ever in America. Even though there are a lot of naysayers, I also want you to know that before the end of the term, we will finish building the wall around the school. It is a big, beautiful wall in the middle. For some of the other spots, we're adapting modern technologies, not just old-fashioned boring bricks. We're instead using American-made plastic string in some parts and recycling your old desk in others, putting them side by side. And we used 100% American labor to build it. So to the security detail, no need to check the wall builder's papers. Stand down. And to those workers who are also mowing the lawn and cleaning up around here, gracias, muchachos. And for those of you who earned the Trump University Elite Graduate Degree for just $10,000 more, you can pick up your tiki torch for the hooding tomorrow night in the woods. You just have to follow the bonfire and the chanting. Finally, I want to close by officially announcing this year's commencement speaker, we're proud to tell you that you will hear from none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin. May President Trump rule as long as he. That's all for now. Please leave your non-disclosure agreements signed on the way out. You can purchase all your graduation swag made in China online at Trump2020.com. Pick up some Trump steaks and Trump vodka while you're there. And feel free to take pictures with the new cardboard cutout of our owner, your mentor, even though you never met him, and the President of these United States of America, Donald Trump. Thank you, and Trump you. I'm Tony Diaz. This is The Other Side, and this is Tony's Side. So we're going to talk about 5 ways to make Republicans nervous. All right? If you've got more, feel free to send them to me some way, shape, or form. First way to make Republicans nervous, Trump tweeting a selfie from that secret meeting between him and Putin. I'd like to see that and the caption, "We may never know." By the way, forget the balance of powers. Evidently now we can have secret congressional meetings, maybe, secret court meetings, secret laws, if the president can just have secret meetings with whoever he wants. Second way to make Republicans nervous. Let's ask Trump if he wants to endorse Lying Ted. So wait, he's not lying anymore? He's not a liar anymore? Or were you lying before? So wait, is he Lying Ted or not? Because that's a pretty cool nickname. I mean, I'm glad Beto O'Rourke is going head-to-head with Lying Ted. So ask Trump if he wants to endorse Lying Ted. I'd like to see how that works out. By the way, is that the same guy who stabbed him in the back at the Republican convention when he said, "Vote your conscience"? Donald Trump, endorse your conscience. Third way to make Republicans nervous. Una bata from Ivanka Trump. Hey guys, why don't you buy your vata from Ivanka's line, because it's going out of business. Ivanka Trump's line is out of business. But hey, that clothes made in China, it's got to be all over the place. So go around to all your clearance sales, grab a bata, and show a bata with a bata from Ivanka Trump, because you can't get them anymore. Fourth way to make Republicans nervous, selfie of a Latino who's 17 years and 10 months, because that's the age you can be to register to vote as long as you're 18 by November. There's a ton of young folks like that, and they are all eager to vote. So hey, young person out there, when you are 17 and 10 months, take a selfie and send it to us as you're about to register to vote. And don't forget that the elections are this November. You have till October 6th to register to vote. But again, as long as you're 18 by November, you can be 17 and 10 months old to register to vote. Last of my 5 ways of how to make a Republican nervous, new rule, no guacamole for the immigrant haters. I want to thank my boy from New Orleans for that line, which he uses in his plays. But let me get this straight. You're going to build a wall. You want to oppress Latinos speaking Spanish in Montana because they're speaking Spanish, but you still want the guacamole? You're addicted to the guacamole. You can't give it up. You love our food. You like it when we clean the table for you. You like it when we make the food for you. You like it when we build a bridge for you. You like it when we take care of your old folks for you. You like it when you carry a baby for you. No guacamole for the immigrant haters. Hey, those are 5 ways to make Republicans nervous. There's a bunch. I want to hear yours, or maybe send us some of those selfies. But hey, you've reached over to the other side.
This program is brought to you by Monty and Ramirez Law Firm. We are here to help you with your immigration needs. We help families and businesses in immigration matters.